Hello, the ghouls. We're back in the dark for not an exactly dark book, but you know what? I've noticed that a lot of people are taking on reading Frank Herbert in the previous 2 or 3 months. So I think it's time I'll do a review for a Frank Herbert book I read recently. It's called The Dosadi Experiment, and it's supposed to be one of his best books that is not set in Dune. I'm pretty certain this review will bring in a ton of views. What? What? Oh, alright. I was just informed that people are only doing reviews for Dune because they read it because of the movie. So I'll do a review for the book, The Dosadi Experiment, and also Dune the movie because I really need the views, guys. Please subscribe, press the like button. You know what to do, right? Alright, don't close. There'll be a Dune review very soon. Alright? But first, let's go for the Dosadi Experiment. It's a translated edition which may play a part in my review for the book. But then again, I was not very sure about it, so I went back. I have seen that Dan Cobain has done a review about this book earlier this year, and I had saved it in my watch later list. For the reason why is that I was planning to read this book this year. Finally, I had it for years and years, and I could barely remember what it was about. Before filming this review, I sat down, I watched the video by Dane, and yeah, it's not the translation that's in fault, it's the book. Alright, The Dosadi Experiment is the second book in a series of novels by Frank Herbert that is not set in Dune. The first one, I think, was the Weeping Star. Yes, it's the second book in the Consentience universe, which is about some sort of a federation of planets that work together, I guess. The first book in the series is indeed The Weeping Star, and there are two more books in that series. There's a short story or two. The main idea is that we have a special corps of people, of saboteurs, who are supposed to keep the universe into the consentiency into order or some sort by sabotaging structures, I guess. I'm not sure, and that's a big problem with my review of the book because I have not read The Weeping Star, and as far as I know, it was never translated in my country. So yes, this is supposed to be one of the best Frank Herbert books, and I can understand why. It's a very rich book. It has some very deep messages tied behind some very obscure and laconic way. The main idea, our main character is a saboteur. He's sent to a planet called Dosadi, which one of the races of this world, of this universe, has used as an experiment. They have trapped humans and their own kind there, and this planet is dangerous, it's overpopulated, it's poisonous, and they're just watching the reactions of the people there who have they have to live in so dystopian situations that if they free them and let them loose on the universe, there'll be trouble. So they plan to destroy this planet, but our hero has to go there and advocate in court because he's also a lawyer for this alien species that has some very life or death trials, sort of. Yeah, things happen. That's the best way to put it because I was not able to penetrate what was happening in the story. Maybe I was missing a lot of context. The fact that few things are explained, they're just left there hanging and you have to figure it out together is definitely a thing. Well, you understand what is happening more or less, but it doesn't have the same impact. And the first 80 pages were kind of boring, then things speed up, but they speed up without you exactly understanding what is happening. So you probably this book needs a reread at some point, or maybe I should read the first one in the series. but it's not a good idea to read it on its own. If you find the Whipping Star, yes, maybe it's interesting to read it, because I feel that if I had a better context of the world, then I will be able to appreciate more out of it. And definitely, second read of it, having a better picture of what is happening would be a better experience. It's one of those books that is excellently written. It's written excellently. However, excellent writing doesn't mean an excellent book. Sometimes the better a book is, the more detrimental it is to how you enjoy it. I know it's weird, but this is how it is. Sometimes having something very well made makes it less enjoyable. And I think this book is one of these cases. It's a book written for a seminar. It's a book you should read and say, oh, Frank Herbert was really great, Dune was not a fluke. But at the same time, you appreciate Dune a lot more because it was as complicated, but you could make heads or tails out of it. And I think that if I went into, say, Dune Messiah or God or Children of Dune, I would be as lost. Because this is how Frank Herbert writes. He's writing very rich worlds. He is doing rich world building, has a lot of great ideas. I mean, the judiciary system of what's the race called? They're frog-like. The Gawachian. The judiciary system of the Gawachian, the frog-like aliens that keep Dosadi trapped, is really fascinating. And there are some things with stars that are sentient or something. That there's a lot of crazy stuff in these books. So yes, maybe the Consistency universe is worth exploring. I can see why this book is considered one of the best of Frank Herbert. It's really interesting, but it's not fun. And speaking of interesting, not fun, let's talk about Dune. I watched the new Dune movie, and I was odd. You know what? I'm kind of tired of modern movies that they have to include those Marvel jokes here and there, that they have to subvert expectations, they have to poke fun at tropes, or so that they are well aware that yes, this was something that was well beloved in the 60s, but get on with it, Grandpa, this is the 2020s. No, Dune was not one of those movies. Dune was visually impressive. Every scene of it, every camera angle was there to give gravitas to the story, make it feel epic. I really felt like every moment I was in this movie, I was watching something spectacular. There's some great acting choices, especially Oscar Isaac as Duke Leto Atreides. He was giving a very solid performance. I really liked Bautista as one of the Harkonnens. The soundtrack was interesting. It was definitely way too epic at some points, but imposing. I really want to listen to it without the movie. I felt like everything about this movie was grander than life. It was epic, and I've read the book, but I don't think it was hard to follow. Things were explained, even though there was a bit of info dump, but that's your trade-off. There are a lot of things to be explained throughout this movie, but it's well explained, and it's long, of course, and the pacing can be a bit tiresome, especially in the first half, as we're having walls and walls of exposition to explain the world, and then we get to things and everything is slow, which is like, I feel like if this movie was a bit faster edited, and maybe 3 hours instead of 2.5, they could fit the entire book in it. Some other casting choices were not as great. I mean, Jason Momoa was great as Jason Momoa, but he was not convincing us, as a character in the movie. And yeah, sorry. And I feel the same about Zendaya. I feel that Zendaya was playing Zendaya, not Sunny. But overall, it was very interesting. The second half really picks up with, the attack on the Atreides. It was good. There were some. It was, I believe, I don't remember the book exactly, but the movie was faithful to it. it's definitely a work of someone who wanted to make a movie that was faithful to the book, and I think it was accomplished. It, the visual effects were awesome. The way it ends, it feels good. It feels very interesting, and I really want to do what they'll do for the sequel because I don't believe there's enough material to do a second 2.5 hour movie out of the second part of the book. So yeah, maybe a 4 hour recount of those two movies. I know I haven't seen the second movie, but I want a recount of it. Would be much preferable to to those two movies that felt overlong. I mean, I get that the pace really adds to the epic atmosphere, to the idea you're watching an epic, but yes, the pace could have picked up a little. It was great, but also not entertaining. This movie was not fun. Like the experiment was not fun, but was well made. So yeah, that's I think that's a recurring pattern, and I'm pretty much afraid I'll go and read Dune, and it won't be fun too. Because the first time I read Dune, I remember it was a ton of fun. Even though it was very serious, very deep, it was also fun, and I didn't feel the fun in that movie. So yeah, that were my Frank Herbert reviews. I'd love to hear your comments if you liked these books, the movie or not, if you watched it, if you read it. What can I say? It was not fun. I hope this video was. Thank you for watching.